Welcome, everyone. My name is Carolyn Howell, CEO of Events USA and an executive producer for our TV network here in the DMV. And I'm here today with Rita Goodroe. Rita Goodroe. And I learned something really interesting about her name a little while ago. There's a chance that she might be the only really registered.
Maybe the only registered Rita Goodroe in the United States of America. Maybe.
And the reason why I think that is so incredibly wonderful is because as we're talking about women and business, and we're talking about business in general, Rita is really somebody very, very special. I want to read a little bit about her bio. It says Rita is a professional speaker, business strategist, and sales coach who helps business owners, sales teams make money with less effort. Okay, this entire, women in business is a really huge thing. We know that because
Yes.
we've been women in business, and you're going to find out a lot about her. But she does this all by showing you how to turn KNOW, no, into NO, so that you can go all in with what matters. So Rita is interesting for me for so many reasons. I call her the curious Rita Goodroe, and that's because curiosity has led her so many ways. Rita, tell us how curiosity started for you and got you in places that now help other business owners get into good places.
Yeah. I mean, my mom would start by saying my curiosity was not a good thing at all, right? But it was really, I think, the moment that I started getting curious about why certain things were happening in my life. So why was I in a great job, but I didn't love it? Why was I in failed relationship after failed relationship? Why was I on paper doing really well and I should really be loving my life, and yet I wasn't, and I felt stuck and I felt like things weren't working out? And so I started wondering why is this happening? And that kind of led me on my journey of discovery that changed my life. So
that's incredible, because when I think about, most people contend with the fact, I know plenty of individuals who have retired from jobs that they didn't like. They didn't like it, but they saw it as a means to an end. And I've seen people that have been in many, many relationships, personal as well as work relationships and otherwise business relationships, who decided they didn't really like those, but they stuck to it because there was a means to it. But your curiosity is really it's actually funny. And this is such an amusing story. So you're known for a lot of good things. People know you as the Rita made me do it person. They know you as just this energetic person who is always writing goals, and you have charts that you are constantly keeping up with. I see pictures in the calendars everywhere. So you took this knowledge that you got and started to say no to things that you didn't like. So what's that first jump off point?
Well, I mean, really, so it's important to know that growing up, I was not really like this, right? I followed a path that had been laid out for me to become a lawyer. So just all my life, I had been told, you're going to be a lawyer. That's what you're going to do. I followed the path, became a lawyer. And
okay, wait a minute, hold on for a second. Being a female attorney is a big deal.
It's a big deal. I'm not discounting it.
Right. Okay. So I want to know who ever put that in your head, and applaud those people for making you think so big so quickly.
I think it was more, I like to fight a lot. I like to debate. I always like to debate everything. And people are just like, oh my gosh, you can't be quiet. You're just going to be a lawyer, right? Like gab. So, but I just kind of growing up in DC too, right? So political science and the law, and that was kind of the path I followed. And I became a lawyer, and I worked as a lawyer for 13 years. But then simultaneously with being a lawyer, and it's actually a funny story about where we are, I started a singles group called Singles in the Suburbs. And it was a singles group. I started it back in 2006. And it grew to one of the largest singles groups in the DC area.
Okay, wait a minute. So Singles in the Suburb, was that a takeoff of something in the city?
Yeah, well, So I lived in the suburbs of Washington, DC, and everything for singles was in the city. And by the time work would be over, and in the traffic out here, by the time I would get there, it would be over. And I was like, that's it. I'm so tired of having to go to the city. I don't want to meet a guy that lives in the city, and I don't want to go to the city to meet a guy. I live in the suburbs. So I started, it was like Meetup was a new thing at the time.
Okay.
And I started a meetup called Singles in the Suburbs. And by the end of the first month, 100 people had joined the group. And then it just grew and grew, and thousands of people joined and it became, I think, like the second or third ranked singles group in the DC area and one of the largest.
Wow.
But it was a hobby. It was just a hobby.
No, I understand that. And I'm just trying to figure out how a really busy, really successful attorney has time to just kind of like start a singles group. Help me understand that.
Maybe I shouldn't have started a singles group when I was really busy and an attorney. But again, I didn't love my job, right? So it wasn't like I was pouring myself into it. I kind of was, I mean, if I'm honest, I was good at it, but I could have excelled if I loved it more and really wanted to pour my whole self into it. But I just never wanted to. I was like, this is what I worked so hard for. Shouldn't I love this job? But I wanted to leave it. Like I wanted to leave the minute the clock would let me go. I never felt that compelling desire like I feel now to just keep working on something and like stay in it. So the singles group, though, I did with the singles group.
Okay, so I can't leave the law thing just yet. What field, what field of law were you in?
So I started as a general practitioner. Well, I really started as a contractor with the government.
Okay.
Became a general practitioner, moved from that into real estate. And then I really, for years, was a real estate and business attorney, mainly working in-house for a company.
Okay.
I got out of the law firm life, went in-house, and was working for a government contracting company.
Okay. And that is a fantastic business.
It's great.
Most people would high-five themselves and say,
I high-fived myself. It was great. It was, like I said, it was a good job. I was good at it, but I didn't feel that that desire to just want to like work until 10 o'clock at night. Like I just wasn't excited by it. Like the work was fine. I did it. I was never excited. I didn't get people say, oh, do you feel lit up? I did not feel lit up at all.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Well, okay. So I'm thinking the salary that goes with a wonderful attorney that's working for a successful government contracting firm. I'm thinking that could have made things.
That definitely incentivized me to stay, right? Until it didn't. But real quick, where we are.
We're in the DMV, obviously, and in particular, we are right here in the Arlington area.
In the Arlington area, and we're specifically in a location called Cookology.
Absolutely, and one of our partners.
What's really funny about being here and being interviewed in Cookology is that this was one of the very first places I had one of my largest singles events.
You have got to be. No, I did not know that.
Yeah. So I met Maria, who owned Cookology, and I said, I run the singles group. I'd love to have a private event for my singles, because Cookology was new at the time.
In 2009.
And so we hooked up, and that was one of my very first real singles events. Was at
don't
Cookology.
You love how
being back here, I was like, oh, it's not this particular location, but the same idea of Cookology.
And Cookology is amazing. So I am loving the fact that you decided, okay, as an attorney, clearly there was nobody that you were running into in your practice that's getting you excited, and you weren't having a relationship.
Oh, I was not dating anybody at work. No.
Okay. No. And I'm not even thinking that.
And I don't even think I wanted, and that's part of it though. I only was meeting other attorneys, and I really didn't want to date another attorney. Yeah, I didn't want to do that.
I mean, do you understand when mothers are telling their daughters to look for somebody, they say, look for a doctor, look for an attorney. Here you are, an attorney, and you're like, and I don't want to date an attorney.
Well, because the life of it would be like 2 doctors or 2 actors or 2, right? The schedules are crazy, the hours are crazy, the demands, the stress. It would be like dating yourself. Why would you want to date yourself?
And I totally get that. So the interesting thing is you start this singles group, and then, because you're going to tell us this after the first break, but you start this singles group, and then you get this great idea one day, even though you're the head of the singles group. So we're figuring you're running to people all the time.
Well, I mean, so you're going right to the idea, but there was a catalyst for that idea. So we might have to what made me, we can tease, right? We can tease. What made me leave the law to become a dating coach? And that's all.
We will find that out right after this first break. I'm here with Rita Goodroe, and you're in for a treat.
jazz lover? If so, have we got something special for you? Presenting Tracy Hamlin's Sweet Jazz Concerts. The first concert of 2022 is Sunday, May 1st, with saxophonist Paula Atherton and the songstress herself, Tracy Hamlin, at the River Creek Country Club in Leesburg, Virginia. Sunday, May 1st at 4 p.m. For more information and tickets, visit www.sweetjazzconcerts.com.
Sponsored by the Bank of Clark.
I'm here right now with Rita Goodroe. We are having such a wonderful conversation about this powerhouse businesswoman, attorney, become business strategist, become dating coach, become business coach. So when we first started talking, we talked all about how from the time she was little, she knew she was going to be an attorney. Now she's in this fabulous job as a wonderful attorney, but she's not happy.
But I was not happy at all. And I was running a singles group. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, that group ran from 2006 to 2011. And during the time of running the group, I actually met a guy in it. So it worked, which was awesome.
Okay.
Met a guy and we ran the group together for the 5 years until we broke up. And so we had a breakup. I was about to turn 35 and we had a terrible break. It felt terrible. It felt out of the blue. Wasn't out of the blue, but it felt out of the blue. But let's be honest, right? Like signs and signals and all of that. But still, we broke up. And I was kind of like, well, what am I going to do? I don't want to. I associated the singles group with him. I was now unhappy and single. I had a singles group that used to bring me joy that like only reminded me of him. I had a job I didn't love. There are all kinds of things. And I just decided I needed to shake things up. I needed to figure out what I was doing to cause all of the situations in my life. It was kind of like I stopped asking, why is this happening to me? And I started asking, why is this happening? Like, instead of being like the victim of all of these things, like, why does this always happen to me? My job, my relationships, I just decided, no, wait, why is it happening? Meaning I might have to be part of the reason why it kept happening. And so I had kind of done some Googling on like, I don't know, like how to figure out your life or something like that. I can't remember. It was something like how to figure out your life. And I was just kind of like, okay, so I'm going to go on 35 dates in 35 days to try to figure all of this out. Like I saw someone who had done something similar and I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm about to turn 35, celebrate my 35th birthday. I'm going to go on 35 dates in 35 days and I'm just going to blog all about it. And I set parameters around it. Like the point.
Okay, so wait a minute, 35 dates in 35 days and you decide this is how you're going to get over being sad by going on 35 dates. And I'm curious, 35 dates in 35 consecutive days.
35 dates in 35 consecutive days. And the parameters around it, because it was not about finding love. I was not ready to find love. I just got out of this 5-year relationship. But I wanted to not be mopey and sad for my birthday. I wanted to go do some things. So the parameters were, I wanted it to be people I didn't know. And I didn't want to know about the guys before I went. I didn't want to know their age. I didn't want to know what they did for a living. I didn't want to know anything about them. The point was to meet people I would normally not meet.
Okay.
And then I had them pick the date. So I had them pick the activity because it was also to go do things I would normally not do. So I could see what was I like in uncomfortable situations. That's where the curiosity really kicked in. Like, What was I doing? It had to be habits. It had to be reactions. It had to be ways I was showing up, things I was saying, whatever it was. So I had to put myself out of the comfort zone I was in to try to figure all of that out. And so I did. I did this so I would be completely out of my comfort zone for 35 days. And then I blogged about it so I would remember the lessons.
Okay, so at this point, you've got the dating group. And you're blogging. So do you have just general blog followers that are listening? Because I don't want to say blogs were fairly new because they weren't, but for somebody to really pay attention to a blog, what was that reaction like? What were you getting?
Yeah. So I had the singles group, remember? Okay. So I had a singles group of like 5,000 people at the time, and they knew I was doing this. So I had a built-in readership for the blog because I had already built a community around this organization. And so I went ahead and said, okay, I just told them. And then I shared it on Facebook and social media, Twitter, and people, singles heard about it and singles started reading. But I wasn't, the blog wasn't like, he didn't pull out my chair. He didn't pay for it had nothing to do with that. It was about what did I learn about myself in these moments? Like when a guy took me to trapeze school, guys, I'm terrified of heights, took me to trapeze school. And what did I learn about myself when I actually did the thing and swung into the net?
Okay, there seems like that you had to have some sort of counseling or something like that even got you to that point. Because unfortunately, when things happen to us, it's a natural reaction to blame other people and to look at what the other factors are instead of. So you were free and willing enough to look at yourself and then be willing to, every time you go on a date, you don't think, oh, he smelled bad or he was 90. Your thought was, what did I learn about myself? I'm so proud of you.
I did. I had someone who was like, I don't know, I was 35 at the time, maybe he was 60. And we went out on a bike ride and I hadn't ridden a bike in years, right? But it was just like, oh my gosh, I was able to like pick it up and do it again. And he was just very friendly. And he said, I just thought it was really great that you were wanting to try new things. And I thought, well, why not? This could be fun. And like, that was the reaction from all of them. When people are like, well, how did the guys react? They loved it. They loved that it wasn't about finding love. It was about just having a good time, like going out and doing something, right? Just go do an activity. And so people were like, they said, you have to be pretty cool to like not be the kind of girl that's like, I'm going out to find my romantic partner.
Yeah, you
right?
really have to be cool for that.
So it worked really well. So I did the 35 dates. The blog really exploded. People started asking if I would date coach them. Could I they were reading the lessons that I was learning and saying, oh my gosh, that's something I do. Or this is to say, Rita, could you like tell me how you got over that? Can you like start coaching me? Or I want to do something similar. Can you like coach me? And I thought, that's weird because I'm a lawyer. Like I'm not a dating coach, right?
Wow.
Yeah. But people kept asking enough. And I said, okay. And I started doing it part-time, like on the side, just kind of seeing if I liked it, seeing if I enjoyed it, seeing where it would grow. And then the world changed with the economy and my job was no longer anything I really wanted to keep at all. And so I decided in that moment, because I was going to have to find a new job no matter what, that I would give it a go to start my own date coaching business.
And you started the date coaching business. Yeah. This is incredible. This is crazy on every level when I think about it and everything that you did around that. So then that led you to date coaching, but you're not date coaching now. So
not date coaching now. I started that. The date coaching business actually grew very quickly. And that's where women started coming up to me saying, how did you do it? How did you get the speaking engagement? How did you get your clients? How do you continue to get clients? How are you doing the business side of date coaching? Why is it growing so quickly and so successfully? And I started mentoring women on what I was doing with sales and marketing and growing my business. And then that just took on a life of its own. And by the end of the year, I had fully transitioned into date coaching.
Wow. Okay.
Into business.
I was going to say
out of date coaching into business strategy and business coaching. Yeah.
All right. And that was closer to what you were used to because of being an attorney. There were so many, you're very systematic, very methodical. And so I guess that worked naturally.
Yes. I mean, it was easy for me to start coaching people because I kind of had a very, I sat down and said, how will I do this? And I really mapped it out and I really did some research. And I had my own coach who was kind of helping me through parts of the process. And so I just started really doing that mentorship to pay it forward. But then I realized I really loved it. It was almost the merger of what I loved about being a business attorney and what I loved about being a dating coach together into this new career. And so I've been doing that for 8 years now, being a business strategist and a sales coach and marketing coach, helping women really grow their business, step into and be able to reach all the goals that they have so that it succeeds and they can be financially independent.
That's incredible. Is that where the Rita made me do it?
So one of the things that I did is I like to challenge my clients to do things they've never done before, get out of their comfort zone. And there was one woman, I said, I want you to do a Facebook Live. And she got on Facebook Live and she said, well, I've never done a Facebook Live before, but Rita made me do it. And so here I am. And it took off. People started using the hashtag Rita made me do it. And they were talking about the things that they were doing to grow their business, hashtag Rita made me do it. And I said, that's it. I'm changing the name of my business. I changed it officially to Rita Made Me Do It LLC. And that's where that came from. And so now it's just Rita Made Me Do It. I have the Rita Made Me Do It podcast. And it really is all about taking those actions that are going to move the needle forward in your business and ultimately your life. And
I love the fact that you talk about literally the things that move the needle, because you're taking another big step now. And we have you on today.
I know.
Obviously, little did we know that there would be history-making Supreme Court hearings, but we had to get Rita in the studio today to talk with her, to have this conversation, because the Rita Goodroe show is going to start airing
next week on Tuesday, every Tuesday, 1 p.m. starting next week. I'm going to actually be having so next Tuesday is actually Ma and Pa Small Business Day.
Okay.
And it's also still Women History Month. And so I'm taking the show on the road to all women or women-focused co-working space in the DC area called Hera Hub, where I'm going to be interviewing the founder of the Hera Hub DC location, talking all about some challenges that women specifically face in entrepreneurship around funding, around perception, around sales, around marketing. We're really going to be talking about women entrepreneurs and the specific challenges that they face, and more importantly, how you can overcome those challenges. And we're going to be talking to some of the women in the Hera Hub space as well, finding out some information that they told me that they'd really love to know that makes them feel sometimes a little inferior or like they're not able to achieve the same things their male counterparts can. And we're just going to have this big conversation next week. So that'll be the first episode.
So you're going to have to tune in next week to watch the Rita Goodroe show. She's going to be at Hera Hub. It's actually in Silver Spring.
It's Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. location. So that's going to be next week. Stay tuned, everybody.
I'm Charles Meriday, and I'm in the restaurant business. In my 20 years as a chef and restaurant owner, I've been able to work and eat in some of the great kitchens around the globe. There's a whole side of the restaurant that most people will never get to see. So now, I want to take you to the back of the house, into kitchens of some of the best chefs in the world. Along the way, I'll share some of my own tips and recipes so you can cook like a pro too. So join me in the back of the house for a whole new perspective on cooking and food. Order in. Roger. Serve it, please. I'm glad that you came. Please.
Alrighty, everybody. Rita is such a professional on every single level. She realizes that we've got historic Supreme Court hearings going on right now, and we are going to cap this show at 30 minutes. It was just a teaser to let you know to look for the Rita Goodroe show, which will be 1 hour.
1 hour show every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, broadcasting from a variety of different places different discussions all around women entrepreneurs, business, sales, marketing, but with a lot of fun. They're going to be man on the street segments. You guys can all be part of the show, and I'll be telling you how you can be part of the show. We're going to have interviews, we're going to have performers, we're going to have educators. It's going to be, I basically am going to be the Kelly Clarkson of business.
All right.
I like
that. The Kelly Clarkson of
business. That's what I'm going to be.
All right. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in with us today to meet this wonderful entrepreneur that is helping other people be highly successful entrepreneurs. And we're going to see you next week, Tuesday at 1 p.m. on RTV Network and all of our other platforms, which is Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, Roku, Time Warner Cable, Fios, Tempo TV, WSTX, Bloomberg. Tune in 1 o'clock next week. We'll see you there.